Alright, what's happening, team? My name is John Denton, if you didn't already know. Excited for this one today, actually. It's going to be an interesting one. So, obviously, new music comes out every single Friday, and quite often I'll just put it out on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, by the way. Should be sliding up at the bottom of the screen. What project should I do this Friday? I always like to do a new project every single Friday. And you know, the overwhelming response was KSI's project, which is great, because it's pretty much what I wanted to do. Doesn't mean we're not going to do Gunna, doesn't mean we're not going to do Co's Got a Friend, doesn't mean we're not even potentially going to do the 1975. But I think KSI, like, not only do you get the synergy with the YouTube thing, but I'm also very interested in this guy that's grown up completely in the public eye. And in all truth, I was watching KSI back when he was changing Deji's controls in FIFA. To see where he's come to and to see who he's become, mistakes along the way, don't get me wrong, but to see where he is now, fascinating. So before I go in, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. And if you want to see this whole album reaction in its like extended uncut form, there's a Patreon link down there. It'll be up for team members at the $5 tier. So please do come out. That goes for all album reactions going forward. But let's jump straight in. KSI.
What you been on? What you been on? What you been on? I've been on holiday. Pay for the team with my DNA. No, coming through with a 2-2 and I'm...
Okay, so we're going for a kind of a Travis Scott type of vibe, actually. So get back a little bit.
I've been coming out of it with a first. I've been on bringing a hearse. Taking these niggas to church.
So some little like uni bars there going on now, alright?
What you been on? I've been on caught in the middle, man. Buying in bulk and I never wear. I've been on getting the Venador. Fuck it. I've been on long drive with sativa highs, so she touching my genitals. I've been on bad hoes with an attitude. I've been doing this. Went with the crew in this. No.
What's interesting, okay, and I think what's going to be interesting about this album overall, and I'll talk about the artwork and the name of the album in a minute, so I like to do that after a couple of tracks, is I think this is going to be an album where we kind of find out a bit more about JJ, both as a person and a musician, but also where he's trying to find his voice, because I never heard him in this kind of Travis Scott kind of lyrical trap, almost spacey lyrical trap lane. I think it works for him. New Day got 2 milli, assuming he's talking about watches and money, and it's interesting to hear a YouTuber talking like this. Obviously he's absolutely massive, and he's not just a YouTuber, he's a boxer, and he's now a musician and stuff, and I'm sure he's got a lot of money, and it makes sense to talk like that when you're making this type of music, because that's just what happens. The bit where I've been on long drives with sativa highs where she's touching my genitals, it just sounded, genitals is not a word you hear in this type of music very often. So it's like, it's credit to him that I'm forgetting that it's JJ the YouTuber many times, and the song really works, production's really good, but I'm kind of expecting that throughout, just given the budgets involved. Production's killer on this one. Yeah. That little vocal chop in there as well. Alright, that's good opener. Good opener.
I cannot pretend if I don't. Cap, we no cap, bitch that's cap. I fuck with the gang, shawty got stuck with the gang. Bit the bend take we ain't pulling up range. These niggas got they lane. I'ma put the AP on, make it rain. She bad, she an animal, get tame. Pouring up the mud in the Fanta drain.
It just sounds so effortless. I think the contrast here is you've got JJ's hook or opening verse. Again, has that bit where you're going in and he seems like he has a real nice cadence, and then there's bits where he's sort of catching his own accent. And again, I'm being pretty much hypercritical here, but fuck it. But then when you hear Offset, obviously, you know, it sounds so effortless to him that there is that contrast there.
I cannot pretend if I don't.
Jesus, man. Like, I'm assuming they weren't in the studio at the same time. I don't know, but I can imagine when KSI got that verse back from Offset, he must have been losing his damn mind.
We no cap, we no cap, we no cap. I'm surfing, catching the wave, nigga fishing, people hissing, cutting their heads in the kitchen. Snaky slimes, them cheese and I'm mozzarella. Added the shoulder my blue trees. Open the garden with few keys. Helen Keller when showing that panic. I don't stop winning, I swear I'm an addict. Automatic competition is viewless.
Oh, actually, do you know what? I think this might be his lane. I've heard him and we'll hear him again. I'm sure I've heard some of these songs, different styles. And I'm all about, you know, you try different styles, and there's a YouTuber and somebody, you know, that's done what he's done. I mean, he's like a polymath, right? He tries all these different things. So he's always going to be an artist that tries different styles. But this kind of like UK wavy, a little bit knocking on the door of an Ace Smalls, knocking on the door of an M Huncher without going all the way with the auto-tune. A deeper cadence as well might be his lane, because his flow sounds really good here, genuinely.
We no cap, we no cap, we no cap, we no cap. Get it. I got my money in line with the queen, royalty making the credit. I gotta spend a lot, 5 figure when I put a trigger when the shopping.
Watches. I got the sauce so they watching. I got 2 glasses to get both color beans. My neck got Ebola. Whoa, doing drop balls in the yo.
It's one of the worst lyrics of all time. Yeah, this song's fine. I have heard this before. It's just a fun sort of track. Like Lil Pump, I'm worried about. We may be at the end of the Lil Pump thing. Is he ever going to release a song on the level of Gucci Gang again? Maybe. But I mean, I'd be surprised. I feel like that time may have come and gone. This song's fine.
I got 2 glasses to get both color beans. Yeah, but you know how I'm rocking.
I'm so ahead of the game, already making a sequel. Easy to beat.
I'm so ahead of the game, already making a sequel. It's a nice bar. That is a nice bar.
These niggas hating, I'm popping.
Credit where it's due. I mean, Smokepurpp's only on the hook, but KSI washed Lil Pump on this one. Washed him. No two ways about it. Like, that's just the reality of the situation, so fair play.
He's in his pocket. And fuck all the election and shit, cause my shooter go straight to your noggin. I pop my 9 in his bitch. I probably pack on his bitch.
So Smokepurpp's not just on the hook, here he goes here. Yeah, same applies. I think KSI's washed them both on this track. It's a decent little track. It's maybe a little long. Okay, yeah, pretty strong starter so far, to be honest. Let's take a little look at the album artwork and the name of it. So I didn't know what dissimulation meant. I had to Google it. And it's the act of like concealing your character and putting on an act, basically, which I think gives us an insight into where JJ's at in his mind right now when he's trying all these different things, and the difficulty of growing up extremely in the public eye as well. Then you look at the artwork here, and you kind of have him in front of, I'm assuming, some sort of table. There's smoky haze. He looks like he's potentially a little bit stoned. So you've got that, but you've also got the kind of blurry reflection. It sort of conjures up questions of who is the real KSI. I don't know if we can read into the red hair or not, but I'm always interested in the composition of these things and what they're trying to say. And I think the blurred reflection is the most interesting thing there, because perhaps the person that he's been shown to the world is the guy that's looking straight into the camera, but there's like that haze there, smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors about who he's presenting to the world. Or perhaps the blurry smoke, the blurry person is who he's presented to the world. Or perhaps this is him looking and he's trying to figure out who he is. And this is just a way of doing it. This is a mechanism for doing that. So I think it's an interesting piece of album artwork. Probably underrated. Also from a commercial point of view, because I like to look at it from that point of view as somebody who put together covers for magazines for years. Striking image, good eye contact, great lighting, good colours, great composition. I can't fault the album artwork from a commercial point of view either, but that's no surprise as somebody who's been doing thumbnails for a decade or whatever it is that he's been doing. Okay, let's move on to the UK joint here.
Oh, nah, you don't wanna run with me.
Me not even care if you're fake or that real. I just wanna get that feel of that booty that you're treating. Oh, why you wanna play the hard to get? For the neck, go glowing. Really only want a bad team. Maybe wanna do a mad thing.
The fact, listen, we're 4 tracks in. We've had JJ on a Travis Scott vibe. We've had JJ on a kind of Nath Smallsy type vibe. JJ on a bit more of a kind of like trap type of vibe, or sort of pop trap and Poppin. And then like a UK vibe leaning into his own heritage, his own like African heritage with the change of accent there, which it comes across quite natural, despite the fact I'm obviously not really talking like that. And it works. I definitely think it works.
But she make me chat. Man will do anything, just say they can have that. See me, I do it better. She flexing in my sweater. People I can't trust them.
Shit, man, the way Tion is just like hopping through the pocket of that beat, syncopating with the drums on that beat. I mean, that is expert level. We're talking high level. There's a reason a guy like Tion has got to where he's got to.
Run up on man and squeeze. Easy peasy squeezy.
And yeah, production excellent. That almost felt like KSI was a feature on that track, but again, solid track. Very much interesting that he's suddenly jumping into the UK thing, where the rest has kind of been a more of a US vibe, but we move. Okay. I've never known how to say this guy's name. Jeremih or Jeremih? I don't know. It's embarrassing. I don't know.
I'm just trying to take it to the sky. VVS just got me blinding eyes. When I'm tripping down and I'm friendly, and I'm so mad, lot of envy.
Should I call that one back on the side?
think like he has a deep voice anyway, but when he goes into the higher register, I think the fucking timing, just the timing on the beat sounds way better, and the cadence of it. It just when he's really deep, he was just. I'm being hypercritical, but fuck it, it's a proper album with proper artists, so why not? But when it goes into the higher register, it feels way smoother on the beat in this and in Cat. So I think there's something there.
And I'm so mad, lot of envy. Talk that shit behind my back, but be friendly.
Lock attention from these different women. Ambition is my religion when I pray.
Yeah. Nice track again, production on point. The nice little guitar there. Jeremih / Jeremih. Oh, it's embarrassing, I don't know how to say that name. Sounding good. And JJ sounding good actually. I think that KSI is my favourite. I think there's something there. Genuinely, I think there's something there. It just works.
The best how it feels. How you woke up looking like you got a only poppin' D. Wearing a new, pissing the loo, polish the V. Now making a zoo, presidential, no road that I will stand wait.
Okay, we're going for a kind of future vibe on this one. I like the production. It does sound like something that would come from Metro Boomin. Not enjoying this style of delivery from KSI as much as the kind of higher, more wavy style. Personally, not massively feeling this one.
Long way from the bottom, baby. This is how I feel.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy that track on first listen. The production's good. It's going for a Metro Boomin thing, but it didn't quite have the full depth. But that's something like you're asking to be compared to one of the best electronic musicians in the world. So that's fine. It still sounded good. I just felt it was a little bit forced. The delivery was a little bit forced. The style was a little bit forced. Even the way he's coming in a little bit too early on the beat. He's coming in late on the beat, but that style just needs to come in so late on the beat. It's almost into the beginning of the next beat, just because it's so leaned out and so lazy in the way it's supposed to sound. And I don't think he has the voice for it. It's in the deep register. He can't hold the notes well enough. Hypercritical again, but I felt like maybe that one should have just been left on the chopping room floor. It's like he went for something that didn't quite work, in my opinion. So we move from here. I've heard this one before, Wake Up Call. Solid track.
I love Trippie Redd.
Wake up call, ain't no walking out, you better wake up, dog. Yeah, it's the wake up.
Yeah, great hook. Not sure about the synths in the beat, a bit all over the place, kind of high, but it's a really good hook from Trippie Redd.
Get it. Now they wanting to visit, cause they're watching the Richard. See me getting the cheddar, see me sprinkle the pep to mount to exhibit. I'm winning in different avenues.
The highest they can get fill it is a decent bar. I do wonder, which of these songs came out prior to that last boxing match and which songs were written, so which ones were written prior and which ones are written after. KSI on this one sounds like the KSI from his older music. It sounds a bit forced. It doesn't sound as smooth as some of the other stuff on this record. And it almost feels like he's kind of within himself a little bit. And I'm not surprised, because if I start trying to put music out, especially music with big artists, that's what it would sound like as well. It would probably sound a bit forced. But on some of the other songs on here, he just sounds a bit more comfortable, a bit more in his lane. And I do wonder, listen, that second boxing match will change somebody. Like, fucking hell. The first one was big, but the second one, a pro fight in a different country, and he goes and wins, that's going to change. I mean, a level of confidence. It's not like he's ever lacked for confidence, but a deeper level of confidence in truly believing what he can do. I do wonder if some of these tracks are written afterwards, and he's just able to. Also, the burden of that fight, man. Just to drop the shoulders a little bit. I do wonder. That's just me, just guessing, speculating, psychoanalyzing. But this song, like, he as a rapper, he as an artist, doesn't sound that good on this track, despite the good hook. But on other tracks on his album, he does genuinely sound good. He sounds like a musician. He sounds like somebody who's comfortable in this lane and will go on to get better. So it's interesting even just seeing that progress and process throughout the space of one record.
Revenue, don't see me ever lose. I jump hurdles like kangaroos.
Yeah, don't see me ever lose. I don't think we'd hear that from him in some of those other songs, because it just doesn't sound, that doesn't sound very pleasant on the ear. Kangaroos, the cadence is wrong, and you're not getting that on some of these other tracks.
Wake up, dog. Yeah, it's the wake up call.
Yeah, good hook, but it's not a great song overall. Okay.
Daddy run the trap when I'm in the streets. You don't wanna play, no. Back out with that look in your eye that'll make the devil smile.
See the net, I made all of that. Even when I'm in, I see the vet, I'm an animal. They know I'm eating up the threat like I'm Hannibal.
You see how much more comfortable he sounds on the beat on this track. And by the way, the beat's really working. Hook really good from Aiyana Lee there. Like, I like how this track sounds. Music punching on the internet, I get all of that. 20 million when I see the net, I made all of that. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not Kendrick Lamar bars or anything like that, but it just sounds way more comfortable. Even when I'm here, I see a vet, I'm an animal. That's not a great lyric. But just listen to the flow on this compared to the flow on the previous track. It's almost like a different artist. Almost like a multiple year evolution in how comfortable he's got. It's kind of crazy if it's happened over the space of a few weeks. Or maybe this was even made before and I'm just making it all up in my head.
Now that I'm feeling sway, money made. Now I can choose the weather on any day, anyway.
Money Mayweather bar in there? Slick, man.
I'm the cat saving like a goalie. Wishing, but I know you fucking hate me.
Back out with that look in her eye.
Got like a 90s R&B vibe to the hook as well. This is one of the best songs on the record, I reckon.
And I gotta stack it up. Now she sounding like you backing when she back it up.
Back out with that look in her eye.
That's a solid track, man. That's an enjoyable, solid track. I think that's his flow. I said it earlier on. I think that's the thing he should be aiming for. Not to box him in, but that's his lane, in my opinion. If he's going to keep making music, he does that very well. It sounds good, and there was a nice smoothness to the flow. Rhyme schemes going between bars, and that compare that to the previous track. Just listen to the two back to back, and listen to how much more comfortable he sounds there. Sounds like an artist there. Previous track sounds like a YouTuber trying to rap.
Gas up like propane, gold up with gold chains, motor with new games. I switch it up like I'm Shyamalan, splitting up how I'm making money, and I stay the villain like a Shadow Khan. Nigga head on. Oh shit, now I'm on my bitch like power fatal like I'm Killa. I'm killing it while the accountant is filling it, bringing it wick in the juice. Come with a smile, break through like Kool-Aid. I made the news, cause I come with a fight.
Yes, I don't want to hear that toupee, like they don't want to hear that toupee, I'm guessing. I mean, okay.
Empathy, I'm feeling numb to it. Feeling better now, I cut it off. Visualizing all the fun to it.
Okay, going for kind of a Meek Mill flow here. I much prefer it when, like, he's doing this quite well, but it feels like, it's not biting, but it feels like a kind of homage or kind of pastiche of other artists. Whereas in that previous lane that I've decided, in my infinite wisdom, that I think he's best in, he sounds like himself. Don't get me wrong, it sounds like other artists, but that's fine. But here it doesn't sound as natural to me, although he's doing a good job. Yeah, that track didn't do a great deal for me, to be honest. It was alright. Heard this one before again. Heard a few on these. Heard a few on this album.
Why you gotta go and let me down like that, hey, down like that.
I want that knocked down. Fuck up the system, make it shut down. What I said when I pussy try moving with the ops. I bat with the blocks, nigga.
Why you gotta go?
Again, we know this one came before the boxing match, and it's that kind of stilted flow, that kind of not quite so comfortable on the beat type of flow. Like, I don't know, it's not as good. It's not as good as the other stuff on this record, despite the big features.
So ring around the rose. Hardest on the block, the biggest one the boss at the crib, so double him the subject.
Does he ever miss on a feature? I mean, getting Rick Ross on your album as a fucking YouTuber, despite the size that he is insane. But Rick Ross never misses on a feature, ever.
With Ross, I even went and bought the block, $100 million strong. I really came from selling Ross. Championship belt, them VVS is spark.
Would have liked to have heard that song again with this new JJ style, the style that's a bit more like Lil Baby's style, as opposed to him trying to emulate Rick Ross. That'd be interesting.
Drop top, I'm spitting it, ayy. Undefeated in the drop top, I'm spitting in. Every building it just swallow like a cinnamon. Never made them and now the floor is hidden. Keeping it moving like in the Caribbean. Win, 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 that's what my people say.
This is his lane. This is his lane.
The enemy.
Beat as well.
Another push you on the tour till they get punched up by this ebony.
Staple in this game, stack the paper. Again, slick.
Unbeatable 06, Aiyana. Come like a rage bull, Mercelago.
Is that a reference to Adriano and Pez 6? Because if so, that's going to be all-time one of my favourite parts. But only a few people are going to understand that. I need to take that back.
Rage Bull, Mesalago, Cabo the Super Chili, Santiago. Doing everything, I'm a different breed. Rich and Millie chilling on the sleeve. Never rented, I just invented a new position. Leaders, truck hat, where they call me the king like Elias.
I like this because it's not... It sounds good. The beat's fantastic. The beat is fantastic. Like I said, I like him in this lane, but you got the fucking Atreus reference, God of War. Like, this is JJ not distancing himself from being a nerd, and that's no disrespect. Like, he was a gaming YouTuber. Like, you can only be a certain type of person if you're going to be a gaming YouTuber. There's levels to it. But we've all sat there, spent plenty of time sat in front of video games, nerding out over fucking anime or movies or TV shows that we like. There's something, you know, and YouTube thankfully made so many of the people realize in the world that there are so many other people like that, and you know, there are positives and negatives to that, but ultimately it's positive, because when I was younger, and I've got a good 10 years on JJ, I was fucking hammered for liking nerdy shit like video games. Can you imagine? There certainly wasn't anybody making money from it apart from the people who actually made and published the games. And me as a teenager liking video games, I was destroyed for that. So I think it's cool that, you know, making some little video game references in there, because that is actually who he is. And this way it just sounds so much more comfortable. And this guy I can listen to all day. Genuinely, there's some good songs on this record.
Undefeated in the drop top, I'm spitting in. Every building it is swallow like a cinnamon.
Good track. Good track.
I got millions on my mind. Still I get so anxious, and I can't help me. Got my feelings on the line.
I was really hoping we'd get a song that was a bit more personal on this album, given the cover, given the title, everything like that. Well, this seems like it's going to be that track, and he's doing it in that style that I like. Okay, I'm going to take it all the way back.
Money can't buy happiness, only rent it. I told myself I wanna finish, and I meant it. I hated every fucking second, hated every mention, searching and screaming for all the reasons that you wanted more appealing and attention. You turned my blood against me, you made me hate my bestie. You fucking ruined me, man, but you don't care. Every message that I would send would just air. Oh well, fuck it, you got what you wanted at my expense, you did it.
Okay, so we got JJ obviously talking about the whole situation with Deji, which must have been a fucking difficult situation, and there are parts of it where you're not too sure how real it is, or if it's just kind of made up beef, but after a while you could tell it was getting really serious for a while there, and you know, like, that's family, but it's family stuff aired out in public, and YouTube videos, and clout, and all this craziness, like, kind of unprecedented in many sort of ways. So it's really interesting to hear him rap and spit in pretty much his normal accent, and that just kind of shows a level of honesty and personality. Money can't buy happiness, only rents it, is a really good bar to start this line with. And now I'm just listening to You Turn My Blood Against Me. I mean, it's just interesting to hear him like this, because, you know, there's power in vulnerability. There really is.
And now I'm picking up my pieces, done with all your leases. I hope you hear this and hate it. I got millions on my mind, still I get so anxious, and I can't help me. Got my feelings on the line, and I get no answers. Something wrong with me, cause I'm not on cloud nine. I don't wanna be your P. I got millions on my mind, still I get so anxious, and I can't help me. I know I'm not easy to be around. Hard times, you're holding me down, and I like how you smile. Even when I make a fool of myself, still, you want nobody else, and that shit really helps. Diamond in the rough, you know I mean it. You don't want the money or the fame, you rather leave it. Leave it just to help out all the people with their mental. Fundamental, you are my sentimental dealer, turning down my compliments. I really hate it since I'm trying to boost your confidence. I really made it since you helped me with my issues. Stronger than ever, want you to know it forever. I got millions.
That's a really nice verse, man. I mean, I have no idea whether or not you'll see this video. It doesn't matter either way, but that was a really nice verse. Like, must have been difficult to put that out there, given that you're in this unique situation, but like, there's plenty of musicians out there, but they've got fame through music. you're this unusual position where you're becoming a musician who's got fame through something that's not only different in music, but is also completely new. Now, being a YouTuber isn't new now, but you've been big since being a YouTuber was new. So to put yourself out there like that, in a song, not for YouTube views, is interesting. And like, to be so gentle when you've projected such a kind of alpha personality for so long, I like that verse, man. I thought that was really nice. Assuming that obviously he's talking to his girl there. It's subtle. It's kind of gentle. You could pick out some of the lyrics in the other tracks and say it undermines it, but at the same time, it's just sort of like turn up music. Whereas this feels like, okay, we're getting this inside. This is the one that goes with the front cover of the record, and I think this is a strong track, man.
So I get so anxious, and I can't help me. Got my feelings on the line, and I get no answers. Something wrong with me, cause I'm not on cloud nine. I don't wanna be your P. I got millions on my mind. So I get so anxious, and I can't help me.
Great track. Really was. Really interesting track. Really interested to see where he goes next in terms of music. Like, I'll talk about this album, but where is he going next? I don't think we're going to hear that kind of stilted KSI anymore. I think we're going to hear that wavy KSI and that honest rapping in your own accent type of KSI. And I'm excited to hear that, to be honest, because overall as a project, listen, it had its kids screaming in the background, so if you can hear that, quarantine times, but honestly, like, obviously there were some stronger songs than others on this project, and some of them I definitely wouldn't necessarily listen to again. But overall, really pretty impressive, to be honest. They're coming in at 33 minutes as well. I think that's a good length for the record. And you go back through it and you go, okay, well, What You Been On was a good start. I enjoyed Cap. I think Houdini works in a different type of vibe. Don't necessarily think that's his ultimate lane. Bad Little Vibe is a good track. I think Killa Killa was a good track. I think Undefeated is a good track, and I think Millions is a good track. So you're looking through, and in the 12-track album, you've got, what was that, 5-6 tracks? I would say genuinely good tracks. So if I was going to drop a score on this, which I always do a first reaction score on new projects these days, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think that's fair. I think if this was if I was being a bit more hypercritical, it might drop to 6.5, but it was really interesting to hear some of those tracks as well. And like, genuinely, a track like Undefeated and a track like Millions probably pushing into the 8 territory. So like, massive respect to KSI for putting this out there. Massive respect for him to putting out that last track as well. So that must have been very difficult to write and to put it out in his own accent as well. I mean, talk about dissimulation, this idea of putting on a pretense, putting on a character or something. I think that's the first time we've ever really heard him. And listen, I don't watch every single one of his videos or anything like that, so there's probably other examples as well. But in terms of something that's being projected out to millions of people who are going to listen to this, that feels like the first time we've ever heard him. And it's such an interesting character, such an interesting person for the UK, because this is the first person we've seen grow up in public in this way. And of course there's other YouTubers who've blown up and been massive and stuff like that, but they've not gone into the other elements of the media. They've not caught the same controversy as well. So I think that's super interesting to hear that, and it's worth just listening to and thinking about, you know, okay, that is a person. This is a new type of celebrity, and he is actually one of the biggest celebrities in the country as well. So very interesting record. That's the score I'll drop on it. I'm very interested to hear where he goes from here in terms of music, and enjoyed doing that, to be honest. Don't enjoy the fact that this room is the hottest room I've ever been in my life, and I feel like I'm in a sauna. I'm dying, so I'm going to have to stop the video right now. If you wanted to see this all completely uncut, the full version of it is up on my Patreon. That's the entire support structure for the channel, so please do go and check that out if you want to support. But just having you guys around here means the world. Please do subscribe. If you've made it all this way and you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Please do come and follow me, Twitter and Instagram as well. I don't think there's anything else to say. I'm going to go 4K likes on this video. Can we get 4,000 likes on this video? I should have said that at the beginning, but I forgot. Guys, that's enough from me. I'm going to melt. I'll catch you on the next video. Stay safe. Peace.